Hello and welcome. My name is Jake Fortney. This is JakeFortneyFitness, and today we're going to be talking about balance, consistency, and adherence, whether that be in a diet, training program, really anything that you want to do. And this applies to pretty much anything that you would need a program for or like a strict schedule for, but it's mainly geared towards diets and exercise. First off, I want to explain what adherence and consistency is. Consistency is not doing the same thing every day or whatever, following, because you're going to have hiccups no matter what. So consistency is not necessarily going to be a straight a one-to-one type of graph type of thing, where down here you have days on track and over here you have days. It's going to be more along the lines that you're going to hit hiccups in the road, but you want your general direction to be positive. So the thing is that what you want to do is you want to limit the amount of times that you're having the hiccups, we'll say, that you're messing up, you're falling behind on your program or whatever. The thing that we don't want to happen is you start off good and then you go across for a long time because you lose motivation, you screw up a little bit, and then you just say, heck with it, I already messed up, I might as well do whatever now, or I'll just start next week because I messed up this week. Whatever. This is consistency. Adherence is basically along the same lines of what I just talked about, which is being able to stick with a diet. They're pretty much synonymous with each other. Basically, consistency and adherence is sticking with a diet or a training program over a period of time, not necessarily all in a row like this. This would be the perfect scenario, but more than likely it's going to be something that looks like this. Maybe this is your birthday, maybe this is Christmas, maybe that's New Year's, and then over here Easter or whatever. I mean, you're going to have some times where it makes sense that you would have hiccups during those times, because you can't expect, unless you're in like deep competition prep or whatever, you need to be flexible. You know, if you're like this stringent, strict guy, which who am I to say that you can't be like that, because I'm kind of like that in some situations. But other than that, like if you have to do whatever you have to do to be able to adhere to a diet. So when I say be flexible, I mean that if you, let's say it's your birthday and it's not on your plan or whatever, you're not allowed to have alcohol. Let's say it's your 21st birthday, and you're not supposed to have alcohol. So you go to the bar and you have a drink because your 21st birthday, whatever, everything's going good. And it's Monday night, you're having a drink, whatever, and all of a sudden you have a drink and you realize, oh, that wasn't on my plan, I messed up. So then that one drink turns into, let's say, six or seven drinks, and then you're way off and you're woe is me, I'm messing up. Then you have probably some ice cream on the way home, and then you couple that with some pizza, and you just keep going crazy because that one drink threw you off. And the important thing is this leads right into number 3, is there's a difference between falling off the wagon and falling behind the wagon. So if you fall off the wagon, you're sitting in the wagon, you fall off, there's a short time period where you can hurry up, jump right back on. It's almost like nothing happened. But the premise behind don't fall behind the wagon is if you fall down, this would be falling off the wagon, this would be falling behind the wagon. So let's say so you had that drink or whatever, okay, you fell off the wagon, okay, get back on starting tomorrow. This would be you fell off the wagon hardcore, you face planted, and then you kept rolling and rolling and didn't want to get back up. And then next thing you know, here's the wagon and you're way down here, you're way back here. So then you have all that catching up to do to get back to where you were. So let's say it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. Then you're like, oh, well, I already messed up this part of the week, so then I messed up the rest of the week. I'll just restart next week. Then here's the wagon, you're way down here. So you have to go way back up there to get back to where the wagon is. So that's where Be Flexible comes in. You gotta know if you have that one drink, or even if all of this happens, you know, you can't control yourself, whatever, it's your birthday, you're having a slice of cake, whatever, be flexible. It's important that just having these hiccups doesn't dictate how your happiness, whatever, how long you can continue to follow your diet. Having those little hiccups doesn't mean you take like the whole rest of the week off or you just go crazy. So it's important to be flexible, but don't get carried away with it. And lastly, even though I have this at number 2, is you need to create healthy relationships with food and exercise. And what I mean by that is, this is to avoid disorders like binge eating disorder and bulimia and and your body. Good thing I just remembered that. And your body. Because if you're always looking at food and exercise from the premise of, if you have, let's say, one of these hiccups, and then you're like, oh, well, I can get rid of this, and you, whatever, throw it up or take laxatives or something like that, that's not going to be a good, healthy relationship with food and exercise. And on the same line, if you do this and then the next day you go and do like 5,000 calories on the row machine or something like that, that's probably not going to be a good idea to be doing multiple times a week or multiple times in a couple 2 weeks or something like that. And also your body, you got to make sure that you're treating your body right and you're not, how do I want to word this? You're not getting too down on your body image, that type of thing. So if you're not where you want to be, you don't want to a food disorder, like this pretty much is all about like food disorders and those type of things. So if you feel like you're fat or whatever, you don't want to have that such a negative body image that you end up becoming like anorexic or something like that, which I know you can't really help, but you just have to think about, is this a healthy relationship? Are you looking at food as fuel for your body, or is it just something that you do when you're bored, or something that you do when, oh, I need a little pick-me-up or something like that? If it turns into more of like a taste or I'm bored, I don't have anything better to do. If that's when you're having food versus you're thinking of it versus the fuel versus the comfort type of thing, you want to be thinking about it more as fuel than you do as a comfort. And then the exercise or the body, like if you're throwing up or you're something like that, to counteract how you think about the food, then that's not good. So you just want to create healthy relationships between all 3 of these. That's the best thing that you can do. So in recap, you got to be flexible. You got to do what you do. You got to do what you can do for adherence. If your diet plan calls for you doing, I don't know, 3 hours a day of cardio, and you find out that you can't do that, don't just fall off the plan and be like, oh, well, I'll just start next week. Just change it up and start the next day, something like that. I mean, these little changes don't have to throw off your whole entire week. Think of it as a day-to-day basis type of thing. Next, don't fall behind the wagon. It's okay to fall off, but not behind. So that's pretty much saying don't make one hiccup compound over and over and over again till you're way behind and you got to catch up. And also create healthy relationships with food, exercise, and your body. So know what your body's telling you. Think of food as fuel and exercise as a form of creating new muscle, all that type of thing. Losing some fat, whatever. You just have to take it to where it's not unhealthy. So healthy versus unhealthy. Alright, that was today's video on balance, consistency, and adherence. My name is Jake Fortney, and this is Jake Fortney Fitness.